So while we thought about low code, no code, data teams are always an edge case. There are enough data teams that want to build. They don't want to be limited by low code, no code. They want to build their own use cases. And for that, we took a next step. We were like, hey, in the world of access management, teams are building these use cases, whether these are Oktas. When somebody logs in, your teams are driving IT teams are driving ton of use cases. Or if you are an e-commerce company, Shopify events, payment events, Salesforce events, those are driving tons of use cases for sales teams. Observability, incident management are more and more straightforward, the kind of use cases SRE and cloud teams are driving. But what about metadata management? How do we drive production-grade, scalable, event-driven use cases in the world of metadata? So for that, I'm just going to pass it to Rohan, who's going to take over this part of the demo.
Awesome. Thanks, Varun. Before we dive into use cases, active metadata use cases, Eventbridge use cases, let's talk a little bit about Eventbridge, what Eventbridge is. So it's a service by AWS in which basically what happens is you can throw in a bunch of events and it easily allows you to consume and build use cases on top of that. Right now, let's imagine what that can mean for something like Atlan. So imagine someone raises a announcement on top of Atlan, a table, and you want to create a Jira ticket out of it, right? And one of the use cases that we heard from our customers was Atlan was sort of becoming a black box, that someone changed the ownership of a table, but no one got to know about it. So now with this integration, what you can do is as soon as a ownership changes, you can send a notification on Slack. So I'm going to show you a lot of demos. The possibilities are infinite, but let's see, before we jump into that, let's see how the setup happens. So you just go to your Atlan account, go to admin, and like you set up your Slack and Jira integrations. It's really quick. You just enter your AWS account ID, AWS region, and it's done. Like it's just a super simple two-click process. And after that, you'll start getting all the Atlan metadata events in your Eventbridge account, and you'll be able to drive use cases on top of it. Okay, so today I have planned two awesome demos for you. So I'm going to jump into the lineage real estate that we have built. So here you can see the data is flowing from Postgres to Snowflake by Fivetran, and then there's some DBT transformation happening and finally landing into a Snowflake view, right? And so for today's magic trick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this customer name as PII because I know it has some PII data, and apply a masking policy inside Snowflake. So before doing that, let's see how the data looks like today. So I'm just going to go to a table. In a click in Atlan, you can easily see the sample of your data. So let's see the sample. I can see it's storing some customer names, which shouldn't be visible to everyone. So what I'll do is I'll just mark it as PII at the transactional store level, so that after that, what Atlan will do is it'll automatically detect that it has some downstream lineage, and it'll automatically mark all those downstream lineage assets as PII. So let's go here. And you can see there's a suggestion popping up. We'll talk a little bit more about it, but this seems relevant. I'll mark this as PII. Now, behind the scenes, what will start happening is Atlan will take this journey and start tagging all the downstream assets as PII. So it'll tag this in the Snowflake table, the Snowflake view, and the final Snowflake view that we're going to use. So while that happens, I'll just quickly show for the technical folks who are present here how the event looks like, which you get and you consume in drive use cases. So you can see this, the whole payload. You can see the operation type is classification add. You can see what exactly changed. And to increase the developer experience, what we also do is we send you the full asset JSON so that you don't have to make another API call to just fetch the asset, and you can just utilize this event. Awesome. Let's go back to lineage. Let's see if the propagation actually worked. So now what I'll do is I'll just check out this column real quick, and you can see the PII just showed up here, and it also tells you where it's propagating from. So it says propagated from name. Now let's check out, did the masking actually got applied? So I'll again hit the sample, and let's see. here you go. So you don't get to see the customer names. And so I'll tell you behind the scenes what we did. We consumed the event that I showed you here. And using that, we made a API call to Snowflake and applied masking on it. So if I go to Snowflake, currently I can see there are customer names. And if I just run this query again, you'll see the customer names are also masked in Snowflake, which is great because now if someone uses this in, let's say, Jupyter Notebook or a BI dashboard, they won't get to see the customer names. So this was one of the use cases that we wanted to show you today. The other one which I wanted to show you is really popular is getting notifications. Like as soon as something changes in Atlan, I want to get notified, right? So let's say Andrew just left our org, and instead of him, I'll tag Mark as the owner, and let's see what happens. Owners have been updated. Now, if I go to my Slack workspace, you'll see Rohan updated owners to Mark. And if you, let's say, change the description, let's say this table no more contains all product data. It excludes APAC customers. So you update the description and you'll see a notification instantly popping up in your Slack. Yeah, this is it for today. Turn back to you.
Thanks, Rohan. That is quick.